Disappearance Day of Mukunda Datta and Kolavecara Sridhar is also Snana Yatra. Because it may not be in the part of the world you are, but in this part of Europe it is. So this evening, our topic, control by love or conquered by love.
Defeated.
Huh?
Defeated.
Defeated by love. Okay. Same thing, ultimately. So this evening we'll be hopefully getting the opportunity to associate with devotees who defeated the Lord by their love or conquered the Lord by their love. We hope. As well as the grand festival of Snana Yatra, the glorious festival of the bathing of Lord Jagannatha. So before we start the discussion, we will chant this song by Narottam Das Thakur, which is generally sung on the disappearance days. If I mention the word Tirobhav, you may not know it, but it means the day of that they ascend. The great personalities leave this world and ascend or return to the spiritual realm. So today is the day we commemorate, we glorify two devotees who are showing us by their wonderful example how to capture the Lord. Not that in one sense it's our business, but it is. Our business is to capture the Lord in our hearts. Just like Bilvamangal Thakur, he captured the Lord in his heart. Krishna, when Bilvamangal was in Vrindavan, in his very old age, he was blind. And Krishna was playing with him. And Bilvamangal was trying to catch him. He knew this was his Lord, although he couldn't see with his eyes. He knew it was his beloved Lord, and he was trying to catch him. But Krishna wouldn't let him catch him. He said, you may escape my grip or my embrace with my arms, but you can never get out of my heart. I've captured you forever in my heart. The devotee has the Lord bound up in his heart, always in the embrace of loving affection.
Lalita me saluait sur l'écran. Alors, est-ce qu'est-ce qu'elle a voulu faire? Si elle n'a pas envie, tant pis, hein, je vais...
Pardon? Thank you. Not that we want to mute you, but that's what at the moment we do anyway. So we'll sing the song which is compiled by Narottam Das to express how much is an emotion. In devotional service, emotion is, there are two lines, there's the philosophy, which includes sambandha, knowledge, proper behavior, relationships, and so on, are also to be, you could say, even philosophically understood. They're also on the emotional side, no doubt, in their root form. But on the emotional side, one's sentiments, one's natural flair, or one's heart, feelings. So the mood of a devotee, this is a very purifying mood when we miss the association of devotees. Sometimes we take that for granted. But that can be, you could say, an obstacle on our path. And then Krishna takes the association away and puts us somewhere where we don't get the association. Well, the intention of that is not why is he doing it to me. It's because we have to learn how to properly appreciate the devotees. So Krishna is trying to teach us how to develop the attitude, the pure attitude of appreciation, love, ultimately love for the Lord's devotees, love for the Lord. So this song is an expression of Narottam Das's feelings of separation from the devotees of the Lord. Ye anilo prema dhana karana pracho ye anilo prema dhana karana pracho Hino Prabhu Kotha Kela Sako Hino Prabhu Kotha Kela Sako Next one, please. Kahamo Swarupupa Ahasanata Kahamo Arasara Nasapatita Ava Kahamo Bata Yuga Kahira Kahamora Bata Yuga Kahakavira Eka Kale Kota Yela Gora Natara Eka Kale Kota Yela Gora Natara Pashane Kutivo Anale Pashivo Pashane Kutivo Anale Pashivo Goranga Gunera Niri Kota Kilepa Goranga Kudera Niri Kudelepa Sisabasangira Samhi Ye Kolavecara Sisabasangira Samhi Kolavecara Sesangana Paya Ante Narotamaya Sesangana Paya Ante Narotamaya Ye anilo prema dhana Karana Pasho Anilo prema dhana Karuna Prajo Hena Prabhu Kata Gela Acharya Tako Hena Prabhu Kata Gela Acharya Tako Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Full screen. To put the picture back on now. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtata Satashri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kota Vaishnavindi Namacharya Shri Haridasa Thakur Ki Prem Se Gaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Maya Ki Jamuna Maya Ki Tulasi Deva Ki Bhakti Deva Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Lord Chaitanya's Harinama Sankirtan Ki Brihat Madanga Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Shri Shri Kodanitai Mayapur Shashi Ki Jai. Agau Premanande. Oh, Tulsinath Ki. Oh, glorious to the assembled devotees. Oh, glorious to the assembled devotees. Oh, glorious to the assembled devotees. devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Go Premanandi. Haribo! Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvyavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, everybody. Today, there's a few of us online from other parts of the world, I believe. Yeah. So, we're going to, first of all, start with a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Today has been one of those days we have to be prepared. Many of you may be in the Boy Scouts or the Girl Guides, and the motto, we used to have the motto, be prepared. I don't know if you've heard that, be prepared. Anything can happen at any moment. This afternoon I was hoping to prepare a little bit for this evening, and Krishna, we tried something, but Krishna had another plan, and we were pretty much fully engaged all afternoon in an unexpected engagement. But that's how it goes. We have to be prepared. Whatever Krishna wants, not to become attached the way I want it, but the way Krishna wants it. So Krishna had his plan today. But we did come across one verse. I could have found a better one probably, but I'll just read. Oh, where'd it go? Just read one verse. Where is it? Underneath that. Hold on. There's something blocking the screen here. There she goes. This is from the 11th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't think they can see it. 11th canto. No, don't. It's going to be too quick. 11th canto. Oh, don't do that, please. What have you done? Darn it. I lost it.
Which verse is it?
I don't know. Where's it gone? 11th canto, 11th chapter, verse 28. I may not be able to find it. My assistant has kindly lost it for me. I don't know what to do. Say, Levi, you don't know how to use this program. I'm every minute I'm using. This is a totally different chapter. Everything.
I can display it for you, Maharaj, if you like. Database.
I can't find it. Someone other. The devotee with me has pressed a button and it's disappeared off the screen, and I wouldn't know where to find it. Maybe I can find it. Hold on. Here we go. 11:11. Okay, here we are. I've got it. My dear Lord, this is 11th canto, 11th chapter, text 28. My dear Lord, as the absolute truth, you are transcendental to material nature, and like the sky, you are never entangled in any way. Still, being controlled by your devotees' love, you accept many different forms, incarnating according to your devotees' desires. One time Prabhupada asked a question, he was asked the question, why does Krishna appear in so many different forms? Green, blue, white, red, black, different forms like animals, forms, and half man, half animal forms, and even fishes and birds, and all sorts of forms. What type of God is this? Why so many different? You know, he has an identity crisis. He can't work out who he is. No, this verse answers this question. Being controlled by your devotees' love, you accept many different forms, incarnating according to your devotees' desires. It's amazing. In love, it's like that. You know, everybody's had that experience, huh? And especially between boys and girls, men and women, the wife, the girlfriend, whatever it is, if she wants to capture the boy, she'll dress up and decorate herself in such and such a way, have her hairstyle and have various smells that the boy likes or vice versa, the girl likes, to try to attract the other one. And then they do everything they can to appear attractive. And in a different situation, they may appear different, to serve a various purpose. So Prabhupada said that Krishna has so many forms because his desires of his devotees, they love him in that form. And it's amazing. And it's interesting because today is Snana Yatra. And Snana Yatra is, I don't know if you have it in Scotland there, but maybe some of you have had that festival today in your temples or homes or somewhere. There's a day of Snana Yatra, the day when Lord Jagannatha gets his annual bath. He only gets one bath a year. We don't follow in his footsteps. We have to take more than one bath. Although I remember when we were kids in England, we were lucky if we had one bath a week. We'd all bathe in the same bucket. We had one big bucket, like a big kind of tub. And we'd all take bath in one tub, one after the next in the family. We wouldn't change the water. We weren't exactly clean. Well, Lord Jagannatha is transcendental, but still he has his one bath a year as part of his transcendental pastimes. It commemorates the day when King Indrajumna installed the deity of Lord Jagannatha. Lord Jagannatha was reciprocating with King Indrajumna in this amazing form. Absolutely incredible, Lord of the universe, most merciful form of the Lord, and bestowing love of Godhead on everyone in the universe. He's so merciful, Lord Jagannath. So today is his birthday, and to commemorate his birthday, it's traditional that the Lord has a Abhishek. So today's the Abhishek, and he goes Anuvasara. Then after today, he goes for 2 weeks in seclusion, just like you're in lockdown. Huh? They have your, what they call it, quarantine. Huh? They're going into quarantine. So Lord Jagannath, he also went in 14, 15 days quarantine, so to speak. Wasn't because of coronavirus, it was coronavirus, because of the virus of transcendental mercy on his devotees to increase their loving affection towards him. But on this festival of Snana Yatra, the devotees lovingly bathe the Lord in so many different substances which they bathe the Lord in. At the end of the festival, once upon a time there was one devotee who came to see this festival, and that devotee was somehow or another, he got in there to see the bathing festival, this very special event. And he's actually a devotee of Ganesh. He thought that the deity was of Lord Ganesh. And so he came in and he was kind of like surprised. He didn't see this form of the Lord. So the Lord reciprocating with him, he suddenly manifested him, or themselves, in the form of looking just like Lord Ganesh. All of them. Subhadra also transformed not into an elephant, but into another kind of appropriate form. And Lord Jagannath and Lord Balaram, they looked like they had elephant forms, Hati Vesh, to reciprocate with their devotees. So out of love, the devotee had love for the Lord, but the Lord, he was thinking Ganesh is also a transcendental form, not just the expansion in this world. He was thinking as Ganesh. The Lord reciprocates. So to this day, after the Snana Yatra, the deities, they take on a Hati Vesh, the form of like elephant forms. You can see that they just look like elephant trunks and faces and so on. It's a very special festival which occurs after the Snana Yatra, this Hati Vesh Mahotsav. So that's today also. But what we're primarily going to be looking at today, or hearing about today, are the wonderful pastimes, or some of the wonderful pastimes of Mukunda Datta and Kolavecara Sridhar. It says Sridhar Pandit on the calendar. It's their Tirobhav, their disappearance days today. And Mukunda Datta was a very special devotee, very special in Lord Chaitanya's Lila, as was Kolavecara Sridhar. They're both special. And we're here first about Mukunda Datta and about the loving exchanges. Last time we were talking a little bit about something related to loving exchanges, I think. And here's loving exchanges. It's like Srimad Bhagavatam. We have Bhagavad Gita, which gives us the Sambandha, the foundation of the philosophy and the direction towards Abhideya and towards the goal of spiritual life. And Srimad Bhagavatam gives us the goal. Srimad Bhagavatam, the ultimate goal of devoted loving service to Krishna in its fullest extent. But Caitanya Charitamrita is the manifestation of that love in actual, not in practice also, but actually fully manifested. The nature of that love in person, in the form of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, reciprocating that love with his devotees also. Countless devotees appeared to also experience that love which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showers on the world. And we just, by following the footsteps of his devotees, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes that by hearing about these great associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, hearing about these great devotees, one can develop great confidence or very conviction and courage in devotional service. One can become very determined, enthusiastic, and also very satisfied of heart. So let us enter in. I could speak a little something, but I'd rather read it now from Caitanya Bhagavat, the beautiful pastime, one pastime, and we'll bring another one in, teaching us various lessons of what is it, what is love of Godhead. We talk a lot about it. What is it? How Krishna is captivated. He's captivated by the love of his devotees, just like we hear about Mother Yasoda and how she captured Krishna with her love, bound him up in the ropes of her affectionate love. Not by rope exactly, but by the rope of her love. Krishna is bound. And that same principle is there for all of us. When we perform kirtan, when we render service, the more the attitude is favorable, the more the attitude is wanting to please Krishna, the more Krishna reciprocates in awakening that relationship or revealing himself unto us. And he's revealing himself unto us right now, actually. It may not be in the way we think, there is Krishna, but he's revealing himself in different ways of introducing us to different situations which help to mold our attitude, mold our character, so we gradually start to see things for the pleasure of Krishna instead of just from our conditional perspectives. So we'll talk about now Mukunda Datta. So once upon a time, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Navadvip in Mayapur, and he was performing his Mahaprakash pastimes for many days in the house of Srivas Thakur, revealing various forms of his self, reciprocating with his different devotees. Some of his devotees were Nrsimha devotees. Some of them were Rambhaktas. Different devotees had different affection for the Lord in different degrees, in different ways. They all love Lord Chaitanya, and by serving Lord Chaitanya, although he's come to give the highest Madhurya ras, some of his devotees had rasas, relationships with the Lord in other ways. So he was reciprocating with each and every one of them. There's tremendous kirtans, and the Lord was showing himself in so many ways for all the devotees' pleasures we just heard. But one devotee, one of the most only the most confidential devotees could enter in there, but one of the most confidential devotees of the Lord, who was always at the Lord's side, practically speaking. In fact, even at school, they were childhood, they were in the same school. Although this devotee, Mukunda Datta, was born in what we now call Chittagram in those days. And he wasn't born in Navadvip, but his family had moved there. And he was a childhood friend at school with Nimai. So they were very close to each other, very close all along. But at this point, Lord Chaitanya said, I don't want to see him anymore. I don't want to see him. So Mukunda, he was hiding behind a curtain. He had no power to come before the Lord. Mukunda was a great devotee and was dear to everyone. He was well conversant with the background of everyone. He knew everyone, all the devotees. He was like inseparable from the Navadvip pastimes. There's a very famous occasion when another one of Lord Chaitanya's associates, he was a little younger. He was younger than Lord Chaitanya and younger than Mukunda Datta, but he was very close also named Gadadhar Pandit. And one time Mukunda took Gadadhar Pandit to meet with Pundarik Vijayanidhi. Pundarik Vijayanidhi was another great devotee who came from Chittagong or Chittagong. So Mukunda Datta knew him. Some of our families, they knew each other. So then they came together to meet Pundarik Vijayanidhi. But Pundarik Vijayanidhi was seen to be like an ordinary materialistic person, very opulent. He had fancy dress, all decorations all over his face, wavy hairs, and people combing his hair, looking in the mirror, like this, being pampered with all kinds of paraphernalia, had beautiful silk garments, and he was spitting betel nuts, and he had fruits, and somebody fanning him with a chamber and a peacock. He was like a really, like a materialistic person, a Vishai. Oh, Gadadhar Pandit was a simple brahmachari. He looked at him and thought, what is this? Who is this person? He doesn't look like a devotee. Mukunda Datta told me he was a great devotee of the Lord, but he looks like a materialist. Mukunda Datta, knowing the mind of Gadadhar, he could read his mind, he could see he was having doubts, began to recite some beautiful verses from Srimad Bhagavatam of how merciful Krishna is, that even though Putana approached him with the intention of killing Krishna with her breast milk, which was saturated with poison, Krishna took her breast and sucked the milk, and sucked more than milk. It was poison, deadly poison. It wasn't milk. Krishna sucked it and sucked it and sucked it and sucked and sucked it until her very life airs were sucked out of her body, and she died screaming and crashed to the floor. Huge form. So Krishna delivered her by this mercy. He delivered her to the position of a nurse because she came as a nurse. He gave her a form of a nurse in the spiritual world. When Pundarik Vijayanidhi heard the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, of Lord Krishna, manifesting in this way, he could contain himself no longer. And he just went mad in ecstasy for Krishna, ripping and smashing everything in sight and roaring the names of Krishna, rolling on the ground. And so on it went on. And eventually he came out of his mad ecstasy. And Mukunda Datta was stunned and ashamed that he committed such a mental offense and begged forgiveness. So in this way, not Mukunda, Gadadhar Pandit completely felt devastated that he had any doubt in this person. So with the permission of Mukunda Datta, he approached Pundarik for initiation. As Gadadhar Pandit. So Mukunda Datta knew the minds of the devotees. The Lord, however, so Mukunda, he was well conversant with the background of everyone. The Lord would always listen whenever he would chant. He was one of the Lord's main chanters, singing kirtan. Such a beautiful voice, we cannot conceive of the sound of his voice, transcendental. Lord Chaitanya would just be mesmerized by the sound of his voice as he would sing according to the Lord's heartbeat. Exactly the mood of the Lord, he would sing appropriate vibrations, songs, meters, tunes, everything, just for the pleasure of the Lord. No one could understand why he was being punished. The Lord said, I don't want to see him anymore. The Lord did not call him, so he could not come. Everyone felt distress on seeing this. Sridhar said, O Lord of the universe, please listen. How has Mukunda offended you? Mukunda is dear to you. And he is the life of all of us. Whose heart does not melt on hearing Mukunda sing? He's attached to devotional service and always careful. Yet without seeing any fault in him, you dishonor him. If he has actually committed an offense, then punish him. But why should you neglect your servant? He cannot come before you unless you call him. Therefore, O Lord, please call him so that he can see you. The Lord replied, do not speak such words again. Don't you ever speak to me on that fellow's behalf. You have heard before the saying, sometimes he takes a straw in his hands. Sometimes he takes a stick. This applies to this fellow, yet none of you have recognized him. Sometimes he takes a straw in his teeth. Sometimes he beats me with a stick. Therefore, this straw stick holder cannot see me. We'll hear what that means in a minute. The expert speaker, Sridhar, spoke again to the Lord. Who is qualified to understand your prowess? We do not find any fault in Mukunda. Your lotus feet, which award fearlessness, are witness of this fact. The Lord said, wherever this fellow goes, he mingles with the persons there and speaks like one of them. Little lesson to learn here. Prabhu's Mataji's. When he studies Yoga Vashishta in Advaita's association, he takes a straw in his teeth and sings and dances in a devotional mood. When he mingles with another Sampradaya, he constantly beats me with a stick by not accepting devotional service. Anyone who explains there is something superior to devotional service constantly beats me with a stick. He has committed an offense against devotional service. Therefore, he cannot see me. Those who engage in karma, jnana, yoga, and austerities are unable to understand the actual nature of devotional service and commit offenses at the feet of Bhakti Devi. The devotees of the Lord do not give their association to such offenders. Therefore, I also cannot tolerate seeing any karmis or mayavadis. So Lord Chaitanya was showing them, just like he did with Chota Haridas, one of his dearmost sannyas disciples, not disciple of sannyas, but dearmost followers, who was a sannyasi, and how he chastised him also for a minor offense. Similarly with Mukunda Datta, he had, some of it was because of family commitments, social commitments, he had to go here and there, and he would associate with people of different beliefs. And here, of course, here we see that he was taking on some of their characteristics, entering into conversations on their level, discussing philosophies. In this way, Lord Chaitanya was seeing that he's actually accepted that karma, jnana, yoga, and all these different practices are greater than devotional service. Once upon a time, of course, he also associated with the Advaitacharya. And Advaitacharya would do this too, is another loving reciprocation. Lord Chaitanya was always praising Advaitacharya as his senior, which he was, of course, in many ways, physically especially. And Lord Chaitanya would always praise him like this. So Advaitacharya was not happy. He wanted to get the Lord's mercy and get chastised. So one time it came to the attention of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that this Advaita suddenly started to preach Mayavad philosophy. So Lord Chaitanya was, what is this nonsense? What is this nonsense? He went storming to the house of Advaitacharya, stormed into the house. Advaitacharya was sat there on his asana, and he was preaching. He was preaching Mayavad philosophy. And Lord Chaitanya said, tell me frankly, which is higher? Which is higher? Bhakti or jnana? Which is higher? And Advaitacharya said, of the two, of course, jnana is higher. Jnana is much higher. Through bhakti, one may attain jnana. Lord Chaitanya went into a rage. He grabbed him by the hair, pulled him off the asana, dragged him across the floor, and started beating him like anything. Doesn't sound like a loving relationship. But Lord Advaitacharya was completely satisfied. Even ecstasy. This wife of Advaita was crying, please stop, he's an old man. Please don't beat him anymore, he'll die. You'll be guilty of killing a Brahmin. Please stop, please stop. Lord Chaitanya, they stopped. They were laughing. But such ecstasy they were in loving reciprocation. In a sense, Lord Chaitanya was reciprocating like this with Mukunda Datta, but it was a different situation, and it was devastating to all the devotees. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was rejecting it. And when he say beating me with a stick, it means that when a devotee preaches something which is not pleasing to the Lord, espousing some other philosophy or engaged in mundane activities or whatever it is, it's like beating the Lord with a stick. And at the same time, he's taking straw, he's very humbly coming forward, yes, whatever you want, chant and dance and so on and so forth, like that. So it's like, well, at the same time, you've got your foot, someone's on a hand on one foot and a hand on the neck, like this, holding a person, holding their feet in humility and at the same time strangling them with the other hand. So Lord Chaitanya was seeing that Mukunda Datta is like this. Mukunda heard everything. Mukunda heard everything from outside. He heard that he would not get the Lord's darshan. What to say? He was so much desiring that. Mahaprabhu, then he thought to himself, Mahaprabhu knew that I did not respect devotional service due to the advice of some guru. This is the potency of Lord Chaitanya. previously on the instructions of some sampradaya, I did not accept the supremacy of devotional service. The other side was, it was previously. It was in previous, relationships or association, his family, and this and that, different sampradayas. So it wasn't that necessarily right now. Another aspect of this, which is very, very special, is there is a verse in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Apichet Suduracharo, where the Lord says that even though one may commit an abominable activity, if one is fixed in his devotional determination, he's still considered saintly. So even if sometimes a devotee appears to association or past condition or drift off a little bit, but their actual heart is for Krishna. They have no other goal in life other than Krishna in reality. They're still considered saintly. So even if Mukunda Datta was doing this, in actual fact, his heart and life and soul was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, totally surrendered to Lord. Devotional service to Krishna is the energy of Chaitanya Dev, the source of all energies. Therefore, I am an offender. The eternal propensity of a pure living entity is bhakti. All living entities are constitutionally situated on the platform of devotional service. If one abandons such a propensity and welcomes other propensities, he commits an offense. He's also teaching us here that this may happen to us almost every day or more, even during the day at many times, that we put more emphasis on other aspects of other activities, other philosophies sometimes, than we do on pure bhakti. So this is his mood. He feels very repentant. He feels himself an offender, not to trying to justify our situation, but to be humble like this and to feel, yes, I have offended the Lord. Our business, our very constitutional purpose of our existence is to bring pleasure to Krishna. We don't exist for any other reason. In the material world, we may have forgotten that. But devotional service in practice is the means of bringing that consciousness, awakening that consciousness again. The exalted Vaishnava Mukunda thought, there is no need to continue my life. Today I will give up this offensive body, for I don't know when I will see him again. Mukunda said, listen, Srivas Thakur, please ask the Lord when I will be able to see him again. Mukunda then shed incessant tears, and all the devotees also began to cry on seeing Mukunda's distress. Now, another interesting, so many pastimes in this regard. We could talk about King Prataparudra, for instance, how much he hankered for the Sangha of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wasn't able to get it, but only by his humble, meek attitude, by the mercy of the devotees and his very humble, meek attitude, did he receive the darshan of Lord Chaitanya when he became very humble. Humility, the humility of Mukunda Datta, his tolerance, his respect, his feeling of gratitude, his feeling of humility, etc., and seeing himself as an offender. All these eligible, makes one eligible to get the darshan. It's not what we do, it's not our achievements, it's not our birth, it's not our years, it's not our whatever the position in this world. It's when Krishna is pleased with our attitude within, that we have a heart, pure heart, without any duplicitous motivation, without any ill intent. And the only heart is one which always runs towards Lord Chaitanya, or runs towards Krishna. As soon as Mukunda heard, then the Lord replied in answer. He said, after millions of births, Mukunda will be fortunate enough to get my darshan. Millions of births, can we imagine? How would we feel if we were told that, you can again come to the temple after millions and millions of births, or you can get the darshan of the spiritual, of the Supreme Lord after millions and millions of births. It's like eternity, almost incomprehensible, impossible to conceive of, how it's just unimaginable practically. But Lord Chaitanya said this to Srivas, that tell him after many millions and millions of births, he can get my darshan again. We would probably be so inspired by that. But Mukunda, as soon as he heard from the Lord that he would certainly attain him, even if it were millions of births in the future, he became immersed in spiritual happiness. He began to enthusiastically dance while exclaiming, "I will attain him! I will attain him!" In this way, Lord Chaitanya's servant became overwhelmed in ecstasy. He was thinking, I've committed such an offense, but still the Lord is merciful. After millions of births, I will attain him. I will get his darshan again. Talk about tolerance. And with a humble, submissive mood. Devotional service, which is the eternal function of the living entity, is vanquished forever when one attains the result of cultivating Brahman realization. Yes, so those who are pursuing this path of impersonal philosophy, this impersonal path, even if they attain perfection and enter into Brahman, this is considered to be the worst possible fate for a devotee, a fate worse than non-existence practically, because there's no opportunity there for devotional service. Vanquished forever, as long as, of course, one is in that platform of eternal Brahman, there's no devotion service there at all. It's totally unmanifest. Even in the material world, there's an inkling of devotional service there. So at least the opportunity is there to engage in devotional service. On here in the statement, "He will see me after millions of births," Mukunda began to dance in great happiness. On seeing Mukunda, Lord Vishrambar smiled and ordered, "Bring Mukunda here." All the Vaishnavas called out, "Come, Mukunda, come!" Mukunda was so happy he did not know what was happening. He was happy by thinking, after millions of years, I'll get this opportunity. We're so patient, aren't we? If we don't get it right away, we go into a fit. We get angry or whatever it is. We don't realize what test Krishna is giving us to develop patience and enthusiasm in devotional service, accepting whatever mercy the Lord bestows upon us. This is, we forget this, that the Lord's hand is working behind everything. By the order of the Lord said, "O Mukunda, you are freed from your offenses. Come see me and take my mercy." By the order of the Lord, all the devotees brought Mukunda, who fell to the ground on seeing the Lord. The Lord said, get up, my dear Mukunda. You do not even have a fraction of offense. The faults of your bad association are vanquished. I have been defeated by you. The Supreme Lord is controlled by love. This is a commentary by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. The Supreme Lord is controlled by love. A devotee is able to control the Lord with love in such a way that he is always capable of even changing the Lord's will. Mahaprabhu said, "O Mukunda, my extraordinary power has been defeated by your loving service. Forgetting your position as an eternal servant of the Lord, you forgot your constitutional duties as a result of the bad association you had at that time. Therefore, you were affected by bad association. By the influence of the Lord's eternal devotees, association, your temporary taste for the non-devotional path has been converted into eternal taste. Therefore, aversion to the Lord cannot be present in you. I gave you the benediction that you would achieve devotional service to the Lord. But according to the degree of your offense, I ascertained that your reinstatement in devotional service would take millions of births. Due to your intense eagerness for devotional service, you have surpassed the time determined by me in a moment. My potency has been defeated by your potency." So the Lord's potencies are defeated by love. In even the material world, we understand that when a devotee takes shelter of devotional services, the karmas, prarabdhas, aparabdhas, kutas, bijas, all the different forms of karmic reactions binding us in this world can all be dissipated one by one, depending on the degree of our love. Awakening our love for Krishna. In the beginning, it may be just endeavor to serve the spiritual master or serve the devotees, which will, if properly performed, will gradually evolve into deeper and deeper attraction, more and more attraction towards Krishna, pure and pure and pure, until eventually one comes to loving Krishna. Of course, the objective goal to awaken that pure love of Krishna, which captures Krishna. He cannot leave. He cannot give up. It's rarely obtained. We see that in the Nectar Devotion, where Goswami explains that this love of Godhead is rarely attained. Because why? Because Krishna is bound up by it. He cannot do anything about it. When his pure devotee, his desire, just like Srila Prabhupada's love for his spiritual master, was so strong, his love for fulfilling his desire, Krishna had to fulfill his desire, to bring persons to Krishna consciousness, to spread Krishna consciousness in the world around us due to the love of a pure devotee. All kinds of persons like ourselves have gotten this opportunity to practice devotional service by the mercy of Krishna. Why? Because of the love of his pure devotee. Krishna is obligated to fulfill the love of his pure devotee. Just like in any relationship, when someone has genuine love for us, we feel obligated to try to fulfill whatever desires they have. We'll read on. I declare that you would achieve me after millions of births, but you will become freed from them within a moment. You are confident that my words are infallible. Thus you have captured me in your heart forever. So one who has this firm faith, there are many statements in Mahabharata, so one who has this firm conviction of that, fully surrender from now on, I have no other objective. I'm completely surrendered to you, accepting the Lord completely, then the Lord accepts one as his own and gives full protection, full shelter. So Mukunda is in this position. He's the Lord's chief kirtaniya, chief singer, for the Lord's pleasure. Thus you have captured me in your heart forever. You are my singer. You always reside with me. I was joking with you because you were a proper candidate to joke with. Amazing joke. It made me, only a pure devotee can take it like this, you could say. We would get probably quite upset. But the pure devotee is like Advaita Charya took it ecstatically. We cannot imitate this. Mukunda Datta, when he heard millions of lifetimes, he was in bliss. Can we imagine if we don't get our way straight away, sometimes we become completely, we're like a baby, throw a tantrum. But he was in ecstasy, millions of lifetimes. We barge away, you've got to deal with this right away. The problem, your problem, I got a problem. We're right in like this sometimes. Even seniors, superiors, we still treat them like this sometimes. If you actually committed millions of offenses, they would not be considered offenses because you are so dear to me. Like that verse we mentioned, the eternal devotees and experienced devotees never commit offenses. Commentary. Even if they manifest something similar to an offense, they are never subjected to any punishment for that offense. If a devotee like you commits millions of offenses, those offenses cannot remain in you because of your determination and love. Cannot remain. Love overrides everything. Even if there are some, even in relationships, sometimes there are imperfections, but the love overrides it all. Despite all your whatever it is, all your thises and that's, I love you. And it overrides it all. So similarly in our devotional service, so many things may crop up, different sin, impediments or faults or shortcomings. We should continue to push forward, chanting the holy names, cultivating love of Godhead, our ultimate goal. And Krishna, like a parent, sometimes the child kicks the parent, sometimes the child bites the parent, the little ones. Sometimes they pass poop all over their parents. But the parents never get angry. It's their little child. They don't kind of You dirty thing, you filthy thing, get off me. Go and take a bath right away. Okay, look what you've done to me. No way. The mother is full of love, no matter what the child does. And this is in loving reciprocation with Krishna, but it's the attitude. By hearing about these great devotees, maybe a little spark of this attitude may start to evolve in our hearts and our consciousness. You are my servant, and your body is filled with devotional service. I constantly reside on your tongue. Mukunda, again, it's another lesson. We may think I'm a good singer, I'm a good cook, I'm a good this, I'm a good that. But that's just a little tiny drop of the Lord's beautiful opulences manifesting on us through our senses. And we shouldn't be proud on our own account. I am the doer. No. This is just fortunate to come into contact with one of Krishna's unlimited opulences. And out of love, he's manifesting the opulence on our tongue or in our, whatever it is, our brains, wherever it may be, to render service unto him. You are my servant, and your body is filled with devotional service. On hearing the Lord's solacing words, Mukunda cried profusely, and he lamented and condemned himself. He said, I am so wretched that I have not accepted devotional service. Since I am devoid of devotional service, how will I become happy by seeing you anyway? So now he's taking the fault on his own account. I've offended. I'm devoid of devotional service for sure, otherwise I would not have committed an offense. So even if I get your darshan, how will that make me happy? And he cites many personalities like Duryodhana, who had the darshan of Krishna, but he didn't recognize him. He certainly wasn't happy. And many others like Rukmini, when she was taken away by Krishna in Kundina, and Krishna kidnapped her in front of all the kings. The kings saw Krishna, but they weren't happy at all. They were furious, they were devastated. And even though they saw Krishna, when Krishna entered the arena of the boxer, of the wrestling match of King Kamsa, many people saw Krishna, they all saw him differently. They didn't see him in the same way. Some saw him as an ordinary person, some saw him as an enemy. Krishna reciprocating with them all. And they get the reciprocal results. So they didn't recognize that. So many other examples, Hiranyaksha didn't see Krishna as, probably just saw him as an enemy, and Hiranyakashipu saw Nrsimhadev like that. They got the darshan of the Lord, but they didn't recognize him. So they didn't get the full, that you can say that opportunity to chant or that darshan has to be accompanied with knowledge of the object as well as just the practice alone or the opportunity alone. So just seeing, darshan is much more than just seeing with conditional eyes. We see things with our conditional eyes and we judge accordingly, nice or not nice. But the real seeing was with a pure heart. Same thing entering into Radhakund. It actually means with the consciousness of Radhakund, not the body, the material body. No, it's the consciousness. When the consciousness is saturated, premanjana charita bhakti locanena, with love of Godhead, then we can enter into these transcendental pastimes. I did not care for such devotional service, yet my head did not fall off. We were thinking like Shishupal's head went flying. But in this case, Mukunda was thinking, better my head would have gone flying. I beat you with a stick. This is indeed astonishing. How were Kubja, the wives of the sacrificial Brahmins, the women of Mathura, and the florist all able to see your form? Because they surrendered. They had a surrendered mood. They had firm faith in the words of the Lord, in the Lord, everything about him. They had firm faith. There was no impediments. We could tell many different examples of that, but time is short. Beautiful examples come to mind. They were able to see you simply due to their devotional service. Yet Kamsa was destroyed at the same place, in spite of seeing your opulence. Another example given here. Kamsa certainly saw Krishna, but he didn't see him as Krishna. He saw him as his killer or his enemy, and he wanted to kill him to protect himself. The different people, they have different attitudes. He is so intoxicated. I disrespected such glorious devotional service with my mouth. It is your mercy that I am still alive. The most powerful Sri Ananta effortlessly holds innumerable universes by the influence of this devotional service. He's so intoxicated by chanting your glories that he does not even notice the universes that are resting like a drop on one of his thousands of hoods. And that's devotional service, even though devotee doesn't even notice. You can go on and on and on for hours and hours and hours, and we don't even notice it. It's just so, if one's absorbed in devotional service, things may be happening all around us, but to be absorbed in devotion, the mind may have so many things, but to be absorbed in devotional service, absorbing our body, mind, spirit, everything in service to the Lord, chanting, hearing, remembering, and so on. Everything else becomes insignificant. Ananta independently maintains everyone. I am so sinful that I did not accept such devotional service. Therefore, I will not achieve the goal of life, even after unlimited births. On the strength of devotional service, Shankara became the husband of Gauri. And on the strength of devotional service, Narada became the greatest among the sages. Vyasadeva, another example, is writing Srimad Bhagavatam, such a wonderful compilation, which we have now, but previous to that, he was writing the Puranas, he was writing Mahabharata, the Vedanta Sutra, dividing up the Vedas. He was not satisfied because he hadn't sufficiently presented devotional service and the object of that devotion. Anything short of that will not satisfy the soul. No matter what it is, the soul will not be satisfied. Only pure devotional service alone can satisfy the hankering of the soul. Savai san puro dharma vito bhakti adhoshide. Ahoitakiya padiyata yatma supasidati. This is the topmost of all practices. Savai Pungsan, the topmost religious practice, is devotional service to the Supreme Lord at Hokshaja, which has to be unlimited. We have at Hokshaja online tonight. We can serve him. Yes, we should serve him. He's done such service for Srila Prabhupada's movement. I cannot believe it, what service he's rendered to Srila Prabhupada's movement over decades of selfless service. And this is how we become dear to the Lord. So by rendering an unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service alone can satisfy the self. So to be complete, it's nothing to do with the results even. It's the rendering of service. The result is not some material recognition, material facility. The result is that one gives up all desire for material recognition, all desire for returns for one's efforts, and just totally surrenders in pure love of Godhead, with no other desire existing in one's heart other than to please Krishna. Mukunda was by nature an unalloyed devotee. Have we missed a verse? I am an insignificant creature, for I have not accepted such devotional service. So what power do I have to see you? The great servant Mukunda raised his arms and cried. He breathed so heavily that his body began to shake. Mukunda was by nature an unalloyed devotee. How can I describe the extent of his glories? He is counted amongst the dear associates of Lord Chaitanya. On seeing Mukunda's lamentation, Lord Vishwambar became somewhat embarrassed and spoke to him as follows. Now the Lord is reciprocating. He's feeling embarrassed by Mukunda's devotional mood in this way, and how the Lord had put him through. Just like Krishna tested Rukmini, Krishna tests his devotion and shows us also how to reciprocate with him, how to attain that mercy which he bestowed on Mukunda. Mukunda, your devotional service is very pleasing to me. I personally manifest wherever you sing. Wherever the holy names of the Lord are chanted with devotion, the Lord personally incarnates there in the form of his holy names. So we should cultivate this pure chanting of the holy names. Whatever you say is indeed true, for one cannot achieve perfection without devotional service. Even if he sees me face to face, Krishna is by devotional service. Krishna says, I can be seen and not by any other means. Because that seeing of Krishna is revealed. It's a revelation. This is the secret of Gita. Raja Vijay Rajaguyam Pavitramita Mutama Patyakshabagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartamavya. That Krishna says it's the most confidential knowledge, the secret of all secrets. And how is it this experience? It's experienced by direct perception, but that perception is given by the Lord. It's not something we can see with mundane eyes. He gives us the eyes to see him. With mundane eyes, we can't see. The eyes have to be premanjana, chuta, bhakti balochanena. They have to be saturated with the salve of love. It's the mercy of the Lord that he reveals himself to his pure devotee like this. Where are we?
Face to face.
Whatever you have said is true, Rhythm. It is said in the Harinam Chintamani, this is presumably a commentary. Namaskar Bhadhira, and it goes on. One may vibrate the sound of the holy names, but it may not actually be the holy name. The holy names and the Supreme Lord are non-different. Those who lack knowledge of the relationship between servant and the object of service cannot cross the four objectives of life: religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, and reach the platform of love of Krishna. Even in our devotional lives, usually we're still looking for some relief, we're looking for some returns, we're looking for some acceptance, we're looking for freedom from suffering, and so on and so forth. These are the four goals of material life or dharma in this material world. But that's not the goal of devotional service. That's not at all the goal. And if we don't realize the name is Krishna, and it's just like, if we realize a person's there, we behave accordingly. If it's just a picture, we may not take it seriously if we see it like that. But Krishna is the name. So the more we have this realization, this understanding, acting upon this, the more we absorb ourselves in being attentive to Krishna, in not committing offenses to Krishna, not beating him with a stick. When we're chanting Hare Krishna, the mind is flying into another universe somewhere, or whatever it's doing, but it's not focusing, it's not taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. We have to take shelter of the Lord's lotus and hold on to those lotus feet. Don't let go. Don't let go. This is the real chanting of the holy name. Helpless. We have no other hope against hope. The only hope we've got is the mercy of Krishna. And that is the mercy of Lord Janananda, the mercy of the devotees. This is our only shelter. I have established where we now. Therefore, the devotees of Lord Krishna are not bound by providence. They are imperishable and transcendental. I have established the fact that no activity is fruitful without devotional service. It's of no use. Even if we go to heaven or get liberation, what's the use? We're devoid of love for Krishna. We haven't realized ourselves. We're still in illusion. We're still subject to either suffering or not experiencing loving exchange with Krishna, which is the greatest suffering for a devotee. Greatest, just imagine a wife who is so much in love with her husband, she never gets the chance to associate. You go crazy. This is a material world. This is, for a devotee, the thought of impersonal liberation is unbearable. It's a great offense, as Lord Chaitanya says here. You're beating me with sticks, denying my form, denying my pastimes, denying my name, denying my devotees, denying rasa, denying everything about me, and just putting yourselves in that central spot. This is the greatest offense. So whenever a devotee lingers in that area, we should desperately cry for help in a humble state of mind to protect us from that influence, which may be there from our previous lifetime, or it may be there due to our present association, or whatever it may be. Praying to be free of this greatest aparad or offense. Bhaktivinoda says this is the greatest offense. It's not directly mentioned. It's the second offense against the name. But it's also the greatest blockage, even more than karma, is the greatest blockage to our spiritual advancement. Therefore, no, I don't think. I think we're up here.
No, I already read it.
Do we?
I didn't read this.
Oh, In the Srimad, anyway, we're not going to read it. If one does not accept devotional service, I feel aggrieved at heart. And as a result, he is obstructed from seeing. I'm sorry we've gone over time. I didn't realize it. Just a few more, a little bit longer. If one does not accept devotional service, I feel aggrieved at heart. And as a result, he is obstructed from seeing me. The Lord feels aggrieved by the fact that all the conditioned souls in this world have not accepted devotional service. That's why he comes as Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Balaram as Nityananda. Why his confidential devotees come into this world to try to relieve the suffering of the Lord. He's feeling grief. So the devotees want to relieve the Lord of his grief. This is love. Sangatam movement means the movement of love, to relieve the suffering of the Lord. He's feeling grief-stricken. All of his children, parts and parcels, are contaminated or completely bound up in this material world by their desire and consequent karmas, which brings great distress to the Lord. So he doesn't force, but devotees do. They try to force. They try to change the will of others, like they change the will of the Lord. They change the will of others also to come back to Godhead. Don't waste your time in this material world. Please, Krishna. If one does not accept devotional service, I read, even though the washerman saw me, when I asked him for something, he was deceived. He had no devotion. And that's in Mathura when that washerman came and Krishna asked for some clothes. The washerman underwent austerities for millions of lifetimes to get that opportunity, but he committed an offense. If one commits an offense to devotional service, his devotion is vanquished, and one who is bereft of devotion derives no benefit from my darshan. Whatever you have said has been spoken by me. Otherwise, how could those statements come from your mouth? I tell you that I will distribute devotional service. I have already imparted love and devotion into your voice. Lord Jagannatha is speaking through the mouth and tongue of Mukunda Datta. And when he sings, we are conscious. We're not mundane, material, dead entity. We're alive, but basically the devotee sees himself existing simply to fulfill the will of the Lord. Whatever you desire, my Lord, please instruct me. A living entity cannot engage in the service of the Lord through his false ego. The principal criteria for the living entities to become inclined towards the Lord's service is the mercy of the Supreme Lord. We have to beg for that mercy, pray for that mercy, that we may progress in our spiritual lives, that we can come to this platform of pure devotion. Mahaprabhu said, "O Mukunda, I have made you eligible for loving devotional service." It's Krishna, he's preparing Mukunda Datta for full loving devotional service, testing him and relieving him of any trace attachment in this material world. Mahaprabhu said, "O Mukunda, I have made you eligible for loving service. I will certainly preach devotional service through your kirtan. The hearts of all the Vaishnavas melt while hearing your singing. As you are extremely dear to me, may you become similarly dear to all the Vaishnavas. Wherever I incarnate, you will accompany me as my singer." When the Lord awarded this benediction to Mukunda, a tumultuous sound of joy was heard everywhere. Everyone folded their hands and they chanted, "Hari Hari Bo! Jai Jagannath!" Anyone who hears Mukunda's prayers and the benediction awarded to him will become a singer with him. So if we want to sing with Mukunda Datta, we can't sing like him, but we can sing with him and get that unimaginable, unlimited good fortune to associate with somebody who has captured Krishna by their love. And this is our only fortune. This is mercy, Krishna's mercy, coming through such wonderful, pure devotees of the Lord. We don't have time, I'm afraid, to discuss Kolavecara Sridhar. What a shame on me. I'm so sorry. But we'll have to finish there because of time. Time and tide wait for no man. And we are, all of us, we have our time frames. We have our time frames in this lifetime also, not just daily, but we have our providential lifespan. So let us not waste our time. We don't know how much time we'll have, but let us try to utilize our time in cultivating pure Shuddha, pure chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Everything will be revealed. Krishna will bestow his mercy upon it. The holy name has appeared. This is Krishna's merciful form. But to realize that merciful form, our chanting has to become pure Shuddha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all very much. And Ms. Raj, you'll have to yourself think about Mukunda Datta and Kolavecara Sridhar. Maybe we talk about Kolavecara because we don't have any time. Scotland, people in Scotland are very time conscious. We're living in the forest here, so day or night, day or no day, every day is the same. It's all constant, just going on, living in whatever moment we're in. But I know that you all have duties to perform, various services to do, maybe work, maybe other things. So I'll leave it there. Hare Krishna. Hare Bo. Anybody there? There's still one or two there.
Thank you so much for this neck. Very much appreciated.
The neck, yes. One hand around the neck like this. One hand on the foot. That means one straw in the mouth, as if you're humble, and then the stick you're beating. And Prabhupada said that like that with when we're massaging the father sometimes when we start to fight. It's like that, we're massaging the father and we're beating him at the same time. So because we're seeing ourselves in the center, what to do. Hare Krishna. So where do we go now? Where do we go now? Raghunath, what happens now?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah, I think that's it for tonight, but we could hopefully meet you again soon. It was wonderful.
We'll see you again. No, that's Monday. One day it'll come. We will. If we keep faithfully chanting the holy name, serving the Vaishnavas, even if we commit an offense, or when we commit offense, not even, we do it practically every moment, we have material desires. This mood of Mukunda Datta, this mood of feeling, I'm an offender, repentance, I don't deserve. Not that we should imitate this, but we should be conscious of this, and not we try to justify ourselves all the time. Let this defense down. Let Krishna take the reins, and then we will conquer over the enemies. Arjuna was trying to take the reins. He wanted to be in control, but then he let his defense down. Krishna took control. He became like the driver of the chariot. Not that we think, I am the driver of the chariot, I'm so great. No, let us just offer our chariot, everything, our reins, everything to Krishna. And of course we act on his account, you can say. On his account, not our account. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Well, we chant. Those who want to stay on, can they chant with us? Or is there questions? I don't know. Time has gone on. Hare Krishna. Apologies. Thank you. The Lord Jagannatha, Pandit, and Subhadra has special forms. What is the mood in which we can really see them? Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me. Don't get me going now. We'll be singing Jagannatha Astakam in a second. That will keep us another 30 minutes. The mood of Jagannath. That we serve the representative of Lord Jagannatha by arranging Rath Yatra festivals, by distributing books, by distributing masses of prasadam, and serve the devotee of Lord Jagannatha. That's the mood, and Lord Jagannatha will reveal himself accordingly. O Lord of the universe, kindly be visible unto me. So you can read that song, Jagannath Astakam, the mood of, different moods are there actually, reverential and very conjugal also. The Lord will reciprocate, because we all have our present stage of conditioning, we also have our constitutional natures. So by serving the devotees of Lord Jagannath and trying to, what is his purpose of coming is to deliver everyone in the universe. He's come to fulfill Mother Parvati's wish that everyone get the chance to receive Mahaprasadam. So if you can try to see how we can give Mahaprasadam to everybody, we can, and it should be as much as possible offered with love and devotion to Lord Jagannath and then distributed to the multitude. And that's the mood of Jagannath Puri, where they distribute mountains of prasadam every day to people all over the place. Everyone gets Jagannath Prasadam in Jagannath Puri. Some people don't live on nothing but Jagannath Prasadam. Many people. This is a great fortune. Great fortune. And the Lord will reciprocate and reveal himself step by step by step. It may be, in the beginning, it may be just purification of our attitude. It takes a little while before we wake up and realize there's a need of purification of our attitude. A little bit of self-reflection. Maybe I'm not always right. Maybe. It's possible. Sometimes we forget that we are here to change our perspectives, which means changing our heart or consciousness, how we see the world, how we relate to the world around us, how we relate to the mind, body, and others, etc. We are here for that. By the mercy of Lord Jagannath, his merciful glance can purify our hearts. So we relate to him by coming into his association. That's why he has big eyes. His eyes are so big, he's got to look at a lot of people and purify a lot of people. No, his eyes are very big because he is Krishna, at least Jagannath is Krishna. And he's seeing Radharani in the form of Lord Chaitanya, and his eyes are just, or in the case of when he was in Puri, just the thought there of the residence of Vrindavan, that Krishna's eyes just became so big. His arms shriveled into him. He lost his legs, shriveled in, and he became Jagannath. So if we sing the names of Krishna with a pure heart, this will please Jagannath. Because Radharani, Jagannath, of course, wants to go back. Radharani's desire, that's the main way to please Krishna, is to serve Radharani. And Radharani's desire is that we all go back to God. Lord Chaitanya is pulling Jagannath by the love in his heart, calling him back, come back to Vrindavan, come back. Why are you sitting here in Sri Kshetra, in Dwarka and Kurukshetra? Come to Vrindavan. He can't necessarily desire. So our good fortune, if we can assist Radharani in bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan in the form of Sankirtan. Let us chant now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Go Premanande! We should go on forever. Never stop chanting. Keep dancing, chanting, and be happy. And get everyone in Newcastle, everyone in Glasgow, everyone in Fréjus. I don't know who else is still there. How can I see who's there? Fréjus is near Nice in France. Hurry Ball. Everyone in Balmoral. Everyone in Wellington, in Paris, in Scotland, in Ayr, in Australia, in Trivandrum, near Lyon. Don't know whereabouts near Lyon. In Auckland, in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, in Brisbane, in Dunedin, yes, in Auckland, in India, in Chat. I don't know, Chat's near Vrindavan, the place called Chat. Jai Jagannath. I don't know where that is, somewhere in Russia. And so on and so forth, all over the place, here, there, and everywhere, even, yes, so many places. Thank you all for being online, wherever you are, in the Bahamas, or wherever you are, everywhere. Hare Krishna. Oh, what question, huh?
No, I said you can keep going as long
You
as
can
want.
carry on as long as you like. If some devotees go, they are welcome, and those who want to stay are more than welcome. We could do part 2. We could do, but you know what? I've got another Zoom class which I have to get ready for. It's not tonight, but it's early tomorrow morning. Well, it's not that early, but I've got to get ready for it. And the next time we'll talk about Kolavecara Sridhar. It's 8:30 now, but we can keep on. Thanks for saving me from completely wasting my time. Oh, not completely wasted. I'll take that in a kind of a positive way. Thank you so much, Neela. Thank you, Rima. Great to see you again. I am missing you both. I hope everything's okay there in Edinburgh. Hare Krishna. And everybody else. Goidas from York. I don't know where everybody is. Some of the names I don't know where you are. And there's a devotee here in Clermont-Ferrand. There's a devotee here in San Diego, near San Diego, Long Beach. And there's a devotee there in New Jersey. Wow. And in Christchurch. And in Germany, in Nuremberg. Goodness gracious. And there's someone there in the Gold Coast. Oh, they're all over the world here. Bermuda, not Bahamas. Sorry. I get the two mixed up, Maharani. Great to hear from you. Thanks so much for coming on. Bermuda, living in Bermuda. Fantastic. Can you imagine? Everyone dreams of going to Bermuda and working. And there we have also all the way over from where are you? In Riga? In Riga, over in Latvia, Riga. And there, so maybe if I've missed you out, New York, I can see New Jersey, another one there. And I don't know where some of you are. So please forgive me if I haven't mentioned where you are. Hare Krishna. And we should all be in the same place. We should be tightly packed up. We have our locked down at the lotus feet of the Lord's lotus feet by chanting the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Fiji, I missed Fiji. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Gauranga, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Kishori, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Hey, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Gauranga, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, go praise Janananda. Oh, glory to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Raghunath Prabhu, and all the devotees for coming tonight, or this morning, or this afternoon, or whatever it is. Hare Krishna. We'll be online again tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock France time. If you want to join us, or you wish, or you're able to join us, you're welcome. Hare Krishna. Glory to Srila Prabhupada. Haribol.
Haribol.